I'm going to show you how to get online clients, whether you're a coach, agency, consultant, without being cringe. Because it's near impossible to grow your business if you're just crippled by this embarrassment and cringe at posting content or sending outreach messages or getting on calls with people. So let's solve that today. I'm going to show you the non-cringe way of actually being able to onboard clients on a consistent basis. I'm going to be giving you a bunch of tactical solutions towards the end of this video, like some actual steps that you can follow and change within your business so that you can go ahead and see some progress and make more money. So we want to cover first the 3 levels of cringe, right? Because you'll fit into one of these. So number 1, you're either crippled by cringe, as in like you just literally can't do anything because you just cringe too hard at yourself when you put the camera on, or as you're trying to send DMs to people, do outreach, get people on calls, whatever it might be. Next is conditional cringe. Now this is like some things make you feel cringe, some things aren't so cringe. And then lastly, we have do not give a fuck. Now, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm that one, I can tell you right now that you're not, because you clicked in this video. So clearly there's some level of fuck that you do give, right? And sometimes people try to do this thing with like being authentic and trying not to be cringe, where they like try to not give a shit and they try to come across as they're this like super laid back cool person and like this do not give a fuck attitude, and it's cringe. Like it can come across as really, really cringe. So like this is like non-self-aware cringe. We've got like two different types of cringe. We've got like you cringing at yourself, and then we've got other people cringing at you. So where does it show up, right? What are the elements of cringe? Well, it shows up in your content, it shows up in your sales, shows up like within yourself. So the way that it might show up within your content is, talking on camera, cringe, oh, look at him, he's talking to his camera, what a freak, what a weirdo, taking selfies, super cringe, super vain, why would you do that? Filming in public, gay, why like, why is he doing that? Why has he got his tripod in the gym, wanker, right? Sales, DMing people, beggy, you're a beg. Why are you DMing people? Why are you pestering people? Weirdo. Being pushy, desperate. Oh my god, you must be broke. You must need the money. Getting rejected, low status, beta. You're a beta male cook. Talking financials, no class. There's no class in talking about money. Why would you talk about money? That's weird. That's icky, right? Personal, your own fear of failure. Right? Drop in status. You feel worse about yourself. You don't feel as cool. Like, do you know when like you've just had like a badass moment in your life? Like, I don't know, maybe you've just lost your virginity or like got your first client, and you like put certain songs on that make you feel like the man or the woman, right? Like, do you know when have you ever like tried to put those songs on, but because your status is so low that like they just don't hit the same, like because you're just not like things aren't going well, like they just don't feel the same. Like that drop in status is painful, isn't it? Really, really painful. Personal scarcity, worried about not having money, not having stability, not having funds. Self-hatred, you just don't like yourself. I've actually done this before where I've filmed a bunch of content, I've put the camera on, or like I've edited a full vlog. I've watched the vlog back and thought, I actually fucking hate myself. I actually just don't like the way that I'm coming across. Right? So, look, these are the elements of cringe. Of course, in my opinion, talking on camera, it's not cringe, it's not gay, it's not weird. DMing people, it's not beggy, it's not pushy, it's not desperate. Getting rejected, you're not low status if you get rejected. That's my opinion on it. But the truth is, if we really want to, like, I'm just sort of like pulling up these cringe thoughts that people get, and I'm just saying these out loud so that me and you can confront them together and overcome them, so that we can overcome your internal cringe and then overcome the external cringe of others as you're trying to actually get clients. But look, here's a hard truth. You'll never not be cringe to someone or some people. Somebody's always going to find you a little bit cringe. And there's always going to be like, you're never going to be fully happy with a video that you make. You're never going to be fully happy with a sales call that you have. Like, there's always going to be a little bit of cringe there. That's just part of this game. That's just part of this game, and as you get to know yourself better and as you develop, sure, like the cringe gets easier to to go through. But there's this quote which is like, embarrassment is an unexplored emotion. And oftentimes the reason why people don't put themselves out there is because they're fearful of being embarrassed. They're fearful of getting judged and cringing people out, and then having this drop in status, things not going their way. But in actual fact, when people do go for those embarrassing moments and they put their own ego on the line, that's normally when people thrive. That's normally when people see success. So look, this video is about you growing your business without feeling cringe yourself or being so cringe that you drive others away and you don't get clients. So what's my first tip? Well, first things first, we have to not be a skinwalker. Look at this fucking thing. Do you want to be like that? So basically, you might be thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? What is a skinwalker? For those of you who don't know what a skinwalker is, it's basically a creature that shapeshifts into a human. It's either it shapeshifts into a human or it like goes into another human's body. It's one of the two. I'm not quite sure on the law there. But it basically goes into human form and imitates being a human, walking around society causing havoc and manipulating people. Now, when you meet a skinwalker, they're likely very unsettling. Like, you don't know why they come across as human, but they just don't seem like they are. There's just something missing. Everybody had that one person in their workplace, or that one person in school, or that one guy or girl that lives in your town who's just a bit of a freak, right? And like, again, I don't mean to be judgmental. I don't mean to sound like a bully, but like, some people, for whatever reason, they just can't get along with people, and it's because they're a fucking skinwalker. It's as simple as that. So don't be one, because a lot of people become skinwalkers when they get into business because they think that they need to like imitate Alex Hormozy or James Smith, and they think they need to be performative. You don't. I'm here to tell you right now, it's gonna work against you. If you try to be something or someone that you're not, if you try to imitate me or someone else that you see online, you are not going to get clients, and it's going to be cringe. If you've decided to be a coach or an agency or a consultant, then you likely have value to give, right? If you have friends, then you're likely not a societal reject. Oops. So this means that you don't have to try to be anything extra in your content or in your sales communications. That was sigh of relief. You can just be you. And not only will this be less cringe, but it'll be less exhausting, right? So you'll have to do, it'll be less effort, and you'll produce more results in your business. There is no art to authenticity. You cannot try to be authentic. You cannot be authentic, if that makes sense. There's no like action that you can take in order to put that into place. You just have to go out there and be you, and trust that you're valuable enough. Like, you are enough to do this, right? You don't have to be anything extra. You don't have to speak perfectly. This video, I've not spoken perfectly, and I won't speak perfectly. But I'm not going to pause the video for the sake of being performative. That's unprofessional. That's not gonna help you. It's gonna take me. I'm gonna be sat here for hours if every time I messed up my words I pause the video, right? So be professional, not performative. Okay. First things first. Niche selection. Don't click off the video. All right. I know. You understand niche selection. I get it. You've watched videos, you've been through courses, you might be in mentorships, you might even know your niche and have a really good beat on this. But it's really important to me that you understand where the cringe comes in for people when niche selection is involved. Because the way that I like to think of niche selection isn't necessarily in individual or in the person that you're going to be working with, but more so in the journey that you're going to take people on. Because that's what people give a fuck about. The most cringe thing is when people make content that no one fucking cares about. When people talk about shit that no one wants to listen to and that doesn't matter. So here's a really easy way to make sure that you're not doing that. Think about the current state of your clients and the desired outcome, and only talk about either those two states or anywhere in between, right? Because that's all they fucking want to listen to. They don't care about anything else other than that, right? There are some other things that they might be interested in, right? Which we'll talk about this in a second. But this is a really, really easy way to keep your content and your business very focused and very profitable, okay? Next, again, like if you're not sold on the whole like selecting one person thing, we'll just show you this diagram. If you have a concentrated impact, for those of you who are like listening and not actually watching this, it's an upside down triangle with one line going through it. Basically what this means is that you have one type of person to work with and you have one outcome that you would help them achieve, which makes a more concentrated impact, which makes your message less confusing, which makes it easier for people to make a decision, which makes it easier for you to make money, right? If you're spread thin, then what happens is things get confusing because you've got so many different angles to talk about and so many different outcomes and scenarios and personalities and people to accommodate your content to, then it's almost impossible, right? It's confusing, it's speaking to everybody, there's an unclear mission, there's low impact. It's just clear like what your you need to make clear what your mission is, right? When you come onto this channel, you know that you're going to watch a video that's related to coaching and actually getting more online clients, right? And that's why this channel has such high impact. Whether it gets a shit ton of views or not, it doesn't matter because the people that are watching it are impacted by the content that I'm creating, right? The things that I'm talking about to you right now, it's very specific to your current state and desired outcome. It's very much a part of this journey. Every single word spoken in this video is to do with that. Maybe that's a Skinwalker thing, thinking about it. Maybe that was a little bit fucking irrelevant, but still, I think it just illustrates a point and makes it more entertaining. Anyway, moving on to the next point, which is cringe to connection. You do not need to be this fucking weird salesperson using psychological manipulation tactics to get people over the line. Don't think of this as B2C, like business to business, or B2C, business to consumer. Don't categorize it as that. Think of this as human to human. Your only goal in your content, in your sales communications, DMs, calls, is to create a human to human connection. You've been doing that your whole life. You've done it with your family. You've done it with your partner. You've done it with your relationships. You've done it with anybody that you've been a friend with over the past. From the random guy that you met in the pub a few years ago to your best friend from high school. You have been creating connections, right? And the way that you've done that is through know, like, and trust. Those things have to be present in order for somebody to want to hand you over money, in order for them to be warm enough to you that they open up their wallet. So the way that you build know, like, and trust, I mean, to get somebody to know you, they need to know your story. They need to know your goals. They need to know your progress towards those goals. Behind the scenes of your life, your reflections, your lessons, your friends know these things about you. That's how they know you. They need to get to like you. Show your hobbies. Show your failures. Share your wins. Give value. Like, actually provide value in your area of expertise. Look good, right? Don't be afraid to do yourself up. If you're, whether that's putting on makeup, whether that's, doing your hair, whether that's going to the gym and getting a pump up, whatever it is that makes you feel look good, putting your favorite outfit on, right? And again, share your lessons. I can't tell you how refreshing it is when you share your lessons around your life and the journey that you help people go on. That's why it's in the know and like column, because I just think it's so important to constantly be sharing what you're learning and not just preaching, if that makes sense. Like, it's not about you going out there and telling people you need to do things in this certain way. People actually don't really respond really well to that, and they don't really like that. It can come across as quite cringe. So if you're sharing your lessons, it's more so in the context of like how I achieved X, Y, and Z instead of what you need to do to achieve X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And then lastly is trust. So trust is testimonials, guides, share your story. Just sit down and make a video about your entire story. There's one on this channel where I just sat down and just exposed myself and my entire life's failures and wins. So tell your story. It's really, really important that people get that, because then they have this like context of you. They have this like timeline of what's been going on in your life. So it's important to have that behind the scenes of your work. Obviously, client wins, real talk. Sometimes you just need to press play on the camera and just fucking spit real talk and just say what's on your mind, right? Obviously, don't crash out. I'm not saying like go and have a crazy crash out on the internet, but real talk's really important. Okay, so lastly, we're going to talk about how do you actually take people's money without it being cringe. Okay, my camera has frozen again. That's a very interesting face for me to be making on a frozen camera and probably a little bit distracting. Oh, wait. I think we're back. It just made the noise. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't fucking do that again. Sorry, guys. Anyway, how to take people's money without it being cringe. The most cringe thing in the world when it comes to actually converting somebody to a client. So let's just like map this out, right? Let's say, for example, you've got really clear on your niche and you're, really clearly articulating what your mission is and everybody gets it and your content's congruent with that. Then you're building, up that connection with people through your know, like, and trust content. You're sharing your story. You're sharing parts about your goals. You're, exposing your hobbies. You're looking good. You're sharing testimonials. You're giving away guides, and people are really building up this connection with you now, and they're starting to reach out. Maybe they're getting on calls with you. Well, let's say when we get on the calls, this is kind of like the last thing that I see people really fuck up on and make it a bit cringe. A lot of people, they'll just go like what they think sales is. Like they'll just go into this mode of like trying to pitch and trying to convince and trying to tell the person how awesome what they have is, like, talking about how amazing their app is or their program, their nutrition plans, their one-to-one support, their check-ins, sessions, courses, communities. Here's some newsflash for you. Some of you will already know this, but most people, they don't give a flying fuck about any of that. And I know that's like maybe controversial to say, and seems like, what, really? They don't give a fuck about what you're going to give them. What they give a fuck about is achieving the outcome that you've promised that they will achieve. Okay? So the most cringe thing in the world to do is to pitch all the shit that they don't give a fuck about and not talk about the thing that they actually do care about, which is their journey. Okay? So a really simple way to get people to hand you over money is just sit down with them, get really clear on what their current state is. I'm just going to draw on this. Get really clear on what their current state is. The first part of your conversation needs to be about that. Because again, guess what? They're currently going through a bunch of pain in this situation. They're currently, right, sad face in this situation and need help. So if you talk about this, they're likely going to give you a lot of their problems, their pains, the things that they need help with. From there, you can figure out, okay, well, cool, like, where is it you want to actually get to? Where is it going to, what we're going to have to do for you to be happy face, right? And then all you're going to do is just map out, cool, here's the first step, here's the second step, and here's the third step that we're going to take. Should we do it? And that's it. That's what they care about. This is how you do your sales call. Just be really clear in how you're going to take them there and not clever. This is why a lot of people struggle to close. This is why the industry standard close rate is 30%, which is an abomination of a close rate. That's just fucking ridiculous. 30%, meaning that if you take 10 sales calls, 7 of those hours are wasted with people that you can't close. Right? It's because people try to sell up based on all of these features. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't, if they ask about it, you just say, don't worry about how we're going to deliver it. This is just where we're going to take you. Obviously, explain the logistics at some point to people, but don't make it the primary focus because they'll forget as soon as you explain what these logistics are, they won't even be thinking about that. They're thinking about the desired outcome. That's what they want, right? And a lot of coaches, consultants, agency owners have this mismatch in communications with their potential clients where they don't really sell the outcome and they try to sell all of these features and it just doesn't work. And the client is just like, I don't think this is what I need. And this person, what they're actually doing is they're actually sat on the other side of the call thinking, I don't think this person really gets it. I don't think this person really understands what I want or what I need. Right? And that's cringe. So, guys, hope that video was valuable for you. If it was, please subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next. Try not to be cringe as you're going about your business. See you in a bit.